Have you ever gone to a fancy cocktail bar and noticed that their ice is perfectly clear? Thought to yourself, I want my ice at home to be perfectly clear. Well, after watching this video, that could be a reality. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dean Callan Show. Today we're going to be talking about how to make clear ice at home. Now, what you're going to need if you're going to try to make clear ice at home is some insulation, some gaffer tape, or in this case we've got really shiny insulation tape because they kind of match, a bucket, some scissors, and a measuring tape. Now, to get started, the reason for the measuring tape. As you can see here, I've got what looks like the kind of chiller basin from a consumer refrigerator or freezer. So I use a Hoover freezer unit. The way my freezer works, it's got this in the bottom, and then about here, there's kind of a tray where ice forms. Behind this unit is the actual condenser itself, the compressor. And then I've got another one of these drawers. I'll show you what it looks like. Directly above. So you can imagine there's a shelf between these two that makes everything cold. Underneath the bottom tray, there is no shelf. So what I've done is I've taken advantage of this space and I've gotten rid of this guy and I've replaced him with a bucket. I made sure that the bucket is just slightly smaller than the bottom of this, because effectively this bucket is going to need to sit in this space. And then what I do, you can see this is super cheap. It was only £1.75 from my local hardware. I went back to the same hardware because I got the same size bucket. I know it fits. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my insulation, I'm going to wrap the base of the bucket and then just tape it on. The reason for this is that I know that no cold energy is coming from the bottom. It's all coming from that plate above. So when I fill this with water, it's going to freeze from the top down because I've insulated the sides, so it's keeping the kind of coldness out on the sides. It's going to freeze from the top down, and the plan is, as it freezes down, it'll push the air and impurities down with it. So that first layer of frozen water is going to be perfectly clear, and it's only at the bottom that you'll get cloudiness. So that means that about this much is going to be perfectly clear. When I take it out, I let it kind of warm up a little bit at the sides. I pop it out, and I have a block of clear ice. Now, the block might have some dusty stuff on the top that's got some air and stuff trapped in it. I just clean that off, I chop it up, and I have nice, big, clean, clear cubes of ice. I'm going to speed up the process of me wrapping this, but I wanted to demonstrate to you that it is as simple as just wrapping it. Boom, done. Okay, so now what I have is my bucket, but wrapped all around the outside is a thermal layer with resistance that stops heat coming in. So when I fill this up with water, it's going to freeze from the top down, and hopefully it should give me a base of kind of bits of trapped air and kind of cloudiness. Here's one that I prepared earlier. Obviously this has got different foil on it, but it's the same process. I think we've kind of slightly improved it with our super cool foil that we found. I really love that foil. I really can't get over it. So let me just use this bucket because you might get a bit of spillage. I would recommend when you're going to take this out, give it kind of 10 minutes out to temper, so it starts to come closer to room temperature. Just pop the sides a little bit, and then you want to slide it out like so. See the water that's coming out? That just demonstrates that we didn't freeze all the way to the bottom. So we've given this just the perfect amount of time. If you look, I might just get a chopping board actually. Oh no, this lid might do the job. If you look, you've got perfectly clear ice up to here, and then where it hasn't frozen yet, you can see here it's started to get all airy and cloudy. That part there where it's frozen is already cloudy. But what we're going to do is we're going to chop the cloudy, airy bits off, and what we'll end up with is chunks of ice like this one here. So you can see how deep that is. And once we've got our nice little chunks like this, we can break them down into smaller pieces. We can have big chunks like that, or as you'll see here, I like to prepare them all into this and cut them into the right sizes for my drinks. So here I'm just going to use this to split them. This guy's a nice clear piece of ice. It looks cloudy now, but it's only because it's just come out of the freezer. If you bring it out and it's cloudy like this, let it warm up until it starts to become see-through, and then it's at the temperature that you can play with it. At the moment, if we try to chop this up, it'll shatter into little pieces because it's a bit too dry. You can use a knife on it, but I would suggest giving it plenty of time, because as you can see, it's super delicate at this point, and it'll crack when you play with it. But that is a simple hack to take your normal home freezer without taking up too much space. Obviously this isn't giant, and creating small block ice. And yeah, good luck.